Yeah, there's one that's been bugging me. Got us a new handle. Let's see if it fits. All right, this is the El Cheapo mobile home style, so there's no fastener, it's just a friction fit. So you just kind of get it lined up where you want it and hope that it works. You just kind of make sure that it's perfectly perpendicular right there, as you can see. Sometimes these can be adjusted, but it looks like this one's non-adjustable. This one only has one depth, so let's just double check it's going to be in the center. Yeah, looks good. There's not too many versions of this. When you're on Amazon, my advice is just buy the cheapest one because they're all the same. They come from the same factory in China where no one cares. They slap them together. Okay, just take your hammer, just gently hold that in. Back and forth. Don't go all at once. Double check it. Take your screwdriver if you have to. Make sure you're perpendicular there. Sometimes it'll move a little. Keep going a little bit at a time. You don't want to blast through it. Now when you get to the bottom, this has like little ring around it which will bite into the wood, so make sure you are perpendicular. Get it just right before you make your final whack. The last one, sometimes you'll have to hit it with this out because you just have to get that. You don't want to hit your thumb. Make sure that's buried all the way in the wood. Otherwise it'll drag as it hits the striker. Doesn't really matter which way you go. Looks like a perfect fit. And then we want to go ahead and get this in place. There's already some holes here, so I don't know, someone else had this in, but I had to readjust this door. It was all messed up, so we're gonna I'll show you a little trick. You just come to your striker. Now we got a white door jamb, so this will work good. You can use a marker or something too. We're just gonna put some lead on that with a pencil. Kind of rub it in and out like that. Leave a mark. As you can see, it's a little down, but it's pretty close to where it was. So now I'm going to make a couple pencil marks here, and we'll go from there. Okay. And it looks like we're going to need to go about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch deep to give room. So there we go. We got the edges of our striker. And I make a center mark too, because that's where the drill's going to go. I use this little center mark I made, line that up. And we're going to put that bit there. And we're just going to make a relief for the striker. I can smell it. It smells good. It smells like a forest fire. Oh, I'm going to turn the fan on. Now we just want to get this striker where it will greet the door on the way in. And that's going to be right about there. So line up your top and bottom. Just in here. I like to set it in place with the hammer. Not too hard, just to make a little mark where it goes. I'm going to mark my screw holes, the center. You know what, I don't think this one's going to be mortised. just going to put it in the way it is. Okay. I like to do this so my screws are exactly where I want them. Take the screw, put it on my little spot. Just give it a little tap. Make a little spot there. Put it on your little mark you made. Just like that. And then they are exactly where we want them. That way you don't have to fiddle with it when you run it in. Now if this were a security door or something like that, you may want to mortise this in and then use longer screws, but this is just a bathroom. If you have a security door, you want longer screws that go through the trim and into the stud that's right here. Beauty. Now we're still going to need to do a piece of stop along the inside of that jamb. Just a little stop right here. So when the door closes, it hits that stop. Okay, now that we're good here, in the interest of painting and not getting paint all over everything, this is way easier than trying to paint around things when you're actually doing this. Just take this back off. Don't put it in the sink or it'll fall down into the P-trap. Let's just do the easy part. Now this isn't a locking mechanism, but I'm going to put the screws on the inside of the door. And that's because if someone gets trapped in here, they can always unscrew that without breaking the door. No one can get in from the outside with a screwdriver. So it's not totally secure, but sort of secure. You got these screws here. Okay. So pin it together. Screw start. Make sure it operates freely. That's why I like these long ones. Use pie. Let's get our striker in. Okay, we made a little mark. When I hammered this right there, it made a little notch. And then your screw holes are going to be perfect. So there's no guesswork. Screw hole's already there, so there's no mistaking where it goes. Give it a couple dugga-duggas. You are set. Okay, perfect. You want to go ahead and close your door. Push it back against the striker. And just draw yourself a line. Right here. And that is where your stop is going to be. Right line. When I run my stop, I'll put my stop so I can barely see that line. And so that'll give me about a 1/2 millimeter clearance between the door and the stop. And that way, if you want to put weather stripping or something on, you can, and it won't make it feel all jammed up. Okay, we're going to put the cabinet hardware back on. Let's go ahead and put our knobs back on. People drill holes for them, they're too big, so they wobble. And that's what makes your knobs loosen up. So what I like to do is I just take a little bit of green tape here, about 1/4 inch, right on our screw. I'm just going to roll it onto that screw. Don't go beyond that 1/4 inch because you don't want it to interfere with threading the knob. And I'll watch what happens. You put this in the hole, it's going to squish down and it's going to pull it tight. And you're just going to use this knob, pull it down tight, sort of like a spacer or a washer. So that. Now that little green part is a cushion, sort of like a washer. You just take your screw gun, get it over here, give it one little bump. That will never come loose. It'll spin a little if you want it to, but it won't come loose. Put that tape right up under the head of the screw, just like a sort of a spacer or a filler. Okay? It doesn't wobble. And neither will your knob, and your knob won't come loose ever again. I mean, it may come loose many, many millennia into the future. We'll all be dead by then anyways. You're just gonna tighten that up, and that green tape creates a nice tight seal, and that keeps your knob from wobbling. And then you wanna give it one ugga-dugga, just to set it tight. Just like that. Okay. This is really simple stuff, guys, but little things like this make all the difference. You know, just little things that drive you crazy. So this is just a cheap little kit off Amazon. You saw me use these in the kitchen. You've got a magnet, and you've got a little metal plate. And they are strong, and they will hold nice and tight. So the first thing you want to do is you want to figure out where your magnet can go, where it won't interfere with the knob. I just like to put them up a little higher so they're not in the way here where you're reaching in and hit your hand. So I usually put them up about an inch down from the top. Sort of like that right there. And then you look to where your door closes. These doors close tight to the wood. So we can put our magnet. These little magnets stick out a tiny bit. So you want to put it to where your door is going to land on that magnet. And that distance from the plastic to this ledge right here, it's about 1/8 of an inch. That's how far you want it to come back from this surface. Take your pencil and you mark your screw on the top, and your screw on the bottom. It's going to come in here. Now look at where your marks are. You're going to make a little hole right there in the middle of the wood. Make sure you're set the screw the right way. Don't go all the way in. Still have to adjust this. Okay, now you want to put your metal piece on here, magnetic metal, and then you want to set it to where this is flush with this. Screws in the rest of the way. I like to hold it when I do this. Okay, now that one's all set. The top and the bottom. Use a pencil because you can erase your mark. Don't use a permanent marker. Okay, now I'm going to transfer these marks to my door. I'm going to come over here. Transfer your marks to the other side where you can see them. And transfer them to the door. So now I got my marks transferred here. Now all I have to do, put a mark right here where my magnet is. It's going to want to be right about in that groove right there. Okay? I'm going to transfer these marks to my door. Just like that. And I'm going to transfer these down. You can use a square if you feel comfortable doing that. I have my 2 marks in here so I know exactly where to put this. And you want to center the magnet in between those 2 holes. And these have a countersunk area. So this countersunk area, you want to make sure that is out so your screws can countersink. Just like I did the other time, I'm going to mark where my screws are. Okay. a little time. Then I'm going to tap these holes just a little. Just a little hole where they go, so I am all lined up. Yeah. Put your screw in the metal piece. Set it in and use the metal piece to hold it until it starts. Now I put them in a little bit loose until both of them are in. And then tighten it. Voila. Holds the door shut. And we're going to use our marks here. Put marks here. Not only does it make it easier, it makes them exactly the same in here. Put my magnet here. I'm going to mark my screw holes. Set my screws partially. Take them back out. Tack it on. Come back and adjust that till it sticks out just a little. Like I said, don't crank down on these screws because they are cheap. I'm going to take my magnet. I'm going to make a mark up here. That's where I want my metal part to be. That to the door. I've already transferred it here. Okay, make sure you got your little spot right there where it's countersunk. You can let that hang, and you'll know that be perfect parallel. The gravity don't mess around. And as you can see, holes in the right spot. Boom. Now, I want that to close just a little more, but it won't. So I'm going to make it to where this side opens up just a little more. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pull my magnet out just a little. They're plastic, so they'll slide. Alright guys. Bada bing. Bada boom. Reveal along the top is even. Must have done a good job. Now you take your eraser, just erase all your pencil marks. No one will ever know they were there. Bada bing, bada boom. Put your screws back. Use that. Magnet in there. Nice, solid, so it won't come open. Go ahead and cut in carefully around that with the brush instead of trying to touch it up, because we have one more cut in to do and it'll look perfect.